Hey y'all, it's your girl Gemini Jazz with House of Chiron, and we are back with another episode of Galactic Gossip. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining my channel. If you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you are not missing a beat. Thank you all for, if you are returning to my channel, welcome in, you know how we do. And for all of those returning members, you all know that I typically put the readings out every Saturday, but it is just a little bit late this week. So, you know, when life happens, you have to flow with what's going on. So thank you all for being patient, but nevertheless, you will have your weekly forecast. But before we dive into all of that, let me get these announcements out the way. We have the Celestial City that is open. Go ahead and hit that description box and get those links so you can join us in the membership where we do Reiki every month. You get a free Reiki, you get your astrological signs every month. So you get a month ahead forecast. You also get so many different discounts to my services and my products, and you get a community forum to connect with and so much more. So just hit the description box and it has all the information about where you can access the membership and whatnot and all the good things. So yes, now also we have some new things coming out this week for House of Chiron that I will not necessarily divulge, but there's some new products coming out for House of Chiron. So just keep watch. If you are not following me on my social media platforms, you can go ahead and go to my YouTube homepage and you can find my YouTube links, or you can hit that description box and I have them linked below as well. Make sure you're following me to get all the updates and insights and news and all that good stuff. All right, so now let's talk about this energy. Now, this is not going to be our typical 7-day forecast. I'm going to give us a 2-week forecast with this reading. So it's going to be an extended reading for this one, okay? And we're going to kind of talk about the energy. So we have quite a few things going on. So this is the 3rd week of November. And we're going to be having quite a few things. So we have the partial lunar eclipse that's happening this week, and this is going to be making quite a few transits that's ushering in this heavy ecliptic energy that's happening leading up to the lunar eclipse. The tension from the previous week that we just experienced is still lingering into the coming days of this week. So just allow this to assist us in wrapping up those loose ends and also to see things from a higher perspective. Now we are able to do these things so that way we can adjust right before this full moon activation that happens towards the end of this week. Now we received the energy and the ambition from this potent power of Pluto and Mars, just as Uranus shakes things up this week to kind of push us forward towards liberation and freedom. And the eclipse this week is going to be best seen between the hours of 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you're in North or South America, you can also see it in Australia, parts of Europe, and Asia. Okay, so I'm not sure what times it will happen in those other areas, but definitely if you are in any of those parts of the world, you will be able to witness this eclipse. Okay, all right, now, first and foremost, we're going to be covering the energy from November 14th all the way through to November 27th. And starting off, this is week 3. We're going to discuss the first week, the first, part of this week, week 3. So this is going to cover November 14th through November 20th. So first and foremost, on November 15th, we have the sun entering, it's in Scorpio, and it's going to be, doing what it does. The sun in Scorpio is all about the big reveal, right? So with this happening on the 15th is going to be squaring Jupiter, which is in Aquarius. So the sun and Jupiter, they begin to form this 90-degree angle, and this is going to give us more confidence and optimism. The ways that we go about life on this day will hold more enthusiasm and liveliness, like really being able to socialize and connect with people. So today is an excellent time for connecting with others, expressing ourselves creatively, or even just using the optimistic energy to create success regarding our different endeavors that we're in right now. So Typically, square aspects manifest in the form of challenges, but still with this square to lucky Jupiter, it does not express that energy in the same way, not in all cases. Now, Jupiter can express itself with a negative connotation to it, right? But Jupiter typically provides abundance and opportunities. But the downside of this energy, right? So this is the opposite of that square energy, is that it can create overindulgence. So that's how this happens. Like Jupiter is either going to give you abundance, or it's going to give you opportunities, or it's going to give you this overindulgent kind of energy, depending on, especially when it has like that square aspect to it. So we might find ourselves spending money that we do not have, right? So, or even expelling our energy into tasks that we do not have the time for, like we have not allotted the time to really focus on those things. And so it's advised that we do all things in moderation. Do not add too much to our plates on this day. We may have an abundance of opportunities and blessings and things coming our way, but the awareness is necessary to not overdo it, okay? Now, moving on to November 16th, the very next day, we have the sun, which is going to be making a sextile to Pluto, which is in Capricorn. Now, this is really great energy for, you know, that ambitious nature. So with the natural ambitions that live within us, they become more evident because we have that added focus and that determination that Scorpio and then that Pluto energy has, right? So while the sun is going to be transiting this sign of devotion and passion, that sextile that it's forming with Scorpio's ruling planet, right, which is Pluto, the energy is very potent. So it's adding a bit of grit and a bit of focus towards attaining our goals. There is a possibility to, on the downside, kind of obsess about getting things completed, or even, you know, obsess about over certain situations or, you know, circumstances. Now, the will of our ego will be challenged, right? Because the sun is the ruler of our ego. And so it will be challenged because of that Pluto energy. Pluto rules power struggles. So it's going to be challenged because, you know, the power struggles, they might surface within our psyche with that Scorpio energy and that Pluto energy being present. It's the ruler of our psyche. And the external expression of what is brewing, right, really like inside of our minds, play out into our realities. So pay attention to like compulsive or reactive behaviors. These things could really result in like self-destruction, especially if you lack the awareness that is required to tackle on this energy. On another note, we will be more attractive, kind of like a human magnet, drawing in all that is for us, but also keep in mind that we might even draw in something that isn't. So the awareness. So the increase in our mental power, or just our inner power in general, could really assist us in getting the things accomplished that we are wanting to get accomplished, by focusing on what is for us to complete, and also seeing things from a deeper psychological perspective, okay? So that's that. Now, moving on, we have Mars, which is in Scorpio also, and it is going to be making an opposition to Uranus, which is retrograde in Taurus. Okay, this happens on November 17th. So beware of angry outbursts, okay, irrational actions and unexpected accidents that happen on this day. If things, you know, have been held in without being able to express them or acting on them, then there may be an outward explosion, right? It's kind of like if you take a soda, you know, like a soda, and you have like the top on it, and you have that soda and you shake it up, and then you suddenly open it and it just goes off. Something's going to pop off on this day, okay? Mars is about aggression, anger, and how we act on something. So, you know, Uranus is like that unexpected energy. So you might have to do things in a way that, you know, don't necessarily align with how we usually respond to things. That might come up. Now, disruptive situations may come our way. And this is so that way we can choose to respond differently and also liberate ourselves, seeing things differently, be more innovative about certain things. Now, the best way to manage this is to think before you react. Practice the pause and process a more self-aware approach to responding. Okay, now seek guidance if you must. I will say that. Reach out to your, you know, friend that has the most level head if you need, you know, some insight on how to respond to a high, intense, triggering situation, okay? Now, moving on to the 18th, we have Mercury, which is still in Scorpio, is making a trine to Neptune, which is retrograde in Pisces. So this happens on November 18th, and Mercury is the ruler of our nervous system and our sensory responses. So with the trine to imaginative Neptune, our sense of creativity might experience a jolt of energy or stimulation, right? So we might not see things clearly through with serious matters at this time, but diving into something creative, practicing visualization, maybe even meditation, or indulging in the arts like dancing or painting. This is going to assist us with the lack of clarity that lingers around in the energy right now with this. Okay, we will be more sensitive to our surroundings as our intuition and our psychic abilities are increased with this energy as well. So this is allowing us to rely less on our logic and trust our inner guide to help us navigate through the times of uncertainty, because it's kind of like what it is. Now, Mercury trining Neptune is a really beautiful aspect because it makes us more compassionate, and we practice more so a compassionate approach to how we speak. We might even be speaking with a softer tone, with this energy around, okay? Now, if there's any existing conflicts on this day, it will be an excellent day to speak with more care and the ability to see people or even the situation with a softer lens because of that Neptune energy that is, trining Mercury. The details won't be as precise as we would like, but the bigger picture can definitely be felt, okay? So now moving on to the 19th, we have Venus, which is in Capricorn, making a trine to Uranus, which is retrograde in Taurus. Now, a bit of excitement may enter our lives due to the shared energy of Venus and Uranus. Venus rules art, money, relationships, material possessions, love. So we can expect the unexpected surrounding these areas of our lives. Uranus brings liberation. It brings the unconventional to the conventional, and it also provides stimulation. So it's a beautiful time to socialize, find an online bargain because Uranus rules technology as well, or even experience something new, find a new way of stimulation in a sense, right? Our artistic taste is going to be encouraged through many avenues, whether it's through painting or even switching up our image, however. So, keep that in mind. Just be willing, have an open mind to dive into something that you have not experienced before. Okay, now this is also a chance to meet a new potential partner if you are single. Okay, this is a great time for that. If you are in an existing relationship, this might be a wonderful time. If you are like desiring to experience a new form of pleasure or new, something exciting in your relationship, this is possible too on this day. Now, the financial areas of our lives get a bit of stimulation as well under this influence. So there is a chance to increase our finances, or an unexpected windfall of money come in, or a shift in our finances, maybe even in our perspective of our finances, our relationship with money could shift. Okay, that is something that we could expect also. Now, finally, this is happening also on the same day as the lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse that happens in the sign of Taurus. Okay, so yes, this is happening on November 19th at 27 degrees. All right, so finally, we made it to the 19th. This is like the big energy of this week. So the eclipse season is officially here because now we are in the first eclipse of the winter season, right? Or fall season, whatever. So although we do not need any more attention or any more drama or anything else, still this eclipse is coming to assist us with releasing those very things that continue to provide strife in our life. So eclipses signify the ending of a cycle, to embark on a new journey. But in order to embark on a new journey, we must first remove the baggage and pack light. You can't go somewhere with all this baggage. It's going to slow you down with getting there. You might get there, but you're going to be tired. And it's not going to be a pleasurable experience on the journey ahead, right? Because you have all these things that you're carrying. If you just let some of the things go that you do not need, think you can enjoy the journey a little bit easier. Okay, that's kind of like the theme with this. So today on this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus is making quite a few aspects that will be affecting several areas of our lives all at once. So as the sun and moon come into an opposition, right? Sun and moon opposite. Sun is in Scorpio, moon is in Taurus. They are also forming a tight square to Jupiter, which is in Aquarius. Okay, now this is indicating excessive and overindulgent behaviors that might surface at this time. We will experience compulsive and destructive behaviors from others and maybe even ourselves due to the mismanagement of our emotions. Check yourself. Okay, basically check yourself before you wreck yourself. That just came up in my head. So just that. Okay, now, however, a square to Jupiter can promote blessings and abundance. Still, we must operate within that realm of responsibility and self-control in order to really tap into that. Now, Pluto is also playing something here. Pluto is making a trine to the moon. Okay, now Pluto is in Capricorn, it's making a trine to the moon, and this is allowing that positive transformation within our values and within our form of discipline, the things that we need to really be working on, our sense of security and inherent, our inherent needs that, within our home life, right? So having that balance between work and home. So tapping into our psyche, right, with that Pluto energy to uncover those repressed emotions, those insecurities, those fears. We can transmute this energy by facing traumas head on with courage in order to promote healing and evolution, right? So this is a wonderful time to wake up in the morning and do some visualization, some meditation. These things will assist in the shedding process that's happening at this time, because we're all undergoing this. We're all removing things, whether it's a state of being, mindsets, all those types of things. Something is being removed. It could be situations, people, it could be several different things. It's affecting different parts of our lives, because as I mentioned, like we have the sun that is in Scorpio, we have the moon that is in Taurus. So that's already two separate sectors of our lives being affected, right? Depending on where you have Scorpio and where you have Taurus in your birth chart. And then it's making that square to Jupiter, which is in Aquarius. Now, where's Aquarius in your chart? Jupiter has its own kind of expression, right? And so we have to take that into account. And then we have Pluto there that's making that transit as well, that aspect to it, right? So with Pluto making that trine to the moon, that's also in a different sector, which is in Capricorn, and it's affecting a different part of our life. So we have so many things happening all at once, but it's saying like, hey, these are all the moving parts that's creating this whole situation that needs some tending to, and now allow it to be released, allow the healing to happen, allow the drama to come up so you can see the bigger picture of things. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, the last energy for week 3 that we will discuss is Mercury, which is in Scorpio, making a square to Jupiter in Aquarius. This happens the very next day after the eclipse on November 20th. So our ability to properly assess our current situations might be a bit inflated with that square between Mercury and Jupiter that's happening, because Jupiter is highly optimistic. So it might be over idealizing something. That square aspect can overestimate things, and that's what's happening here. So causing us to either take on too much or focus on too many things all at once, putting too much on our plates. Having the ability to see things from a higher perspective is always a good thing, but still keep in mind, we should still consider if the heights that we are soaring is truly allowing us to see from this particular altitude. Although it's a higher perspective, are we too high? Are we over idealizing, right? So our thinking could be a bit scattered. Our communication could experience, the same thing, the way that we communicate. So because our minds are kind of all over the place, the way we come across could be the same thing. But on the bright side, we'll be seeing the bright side. You like what I did there? Okay. Anyway, so that is all that I have for week 3. Now let's move on into week 4. We don't have as many things going on during this week. This is the week for Thanksgiving, if that's something that you celebrate. So this is that day. This is this week. Okay. Now, Week 4 is going to be from November 21st all the way through November 27th. Now, the Sun and Mercury both meet up in Sagittarius this week, and this is to provide us with more clarity, insight, and guidance towards our destined path. And also, the wisdom that has been obtained previously from previous seasons and whatnot could resurface during this time. And when I say a previous season, it doesn't necessarily mean 2021. It could be many seasons, many moons ago. It could be, old experiences from, 19 years ago. And now here we are at this 19-year transit or cycle. And it's like, oh, that information or that knowledge or that wisdom is now beneficial. And I need to use this now in this situation. So this is something that could be happening over this time this week, right? So this is assisting us in navigating where we are being guided to. Our internal and our external realities are aligning more and more as we progress and evolve. And this week is going to remind us and give us a glimpse of what is to come soon in 2022, okay? Now, on the 21st, Mercury, which is in Scorpio, is going to sextile Pluto, which is in Capricorn. So as we dive deeper into our psyches, like we have been doing, this is going to reveal what is hidden within. We can find that we see through the different layers, right? We think with depth, right? We're seeing things deeply, and we're focusing with more intensity and intentional, right? Intentionality as well. So our intellect, right, at this time is much more powerful. It's a powerful tool to use. And even more so because Mercury and Pluto are connected at this time. Our increased ability to relate to others comes from this magnetic approach that we get from that Plutonian energy in the ways that we communicate with other people. Our intellect and our mental power is amplified on this day. It's really essential to be aware that we are not taking advantage of others under this influence, with our power that we have, or even becoming on the receiving end of that energy. Be aware. Okay. Now, on the 21st, also, right after that energy kind of, begins, we have the sun moving from Scorpio and entering into Sagittarius. So this is the start of Sagittarius season. So happy solar return, all you wonderful, stunning Sagittarius folk. All right. So Sagittarius season will be here from November 21st all the way through December 21st. So the sun is shifting from the great reveal of Scorpio season and into joyful and adventurous Sagittarius. And as the sun is progressing, it's going to make an impactful conjunction with the South Node, right? We have the South Node that is at 1 degree good Lord, 1 degree in Sagittarius, and the North Node is in Gemini at this time. I had a brain fart. Anyway, so it's going to make like this conjunction with the South Node, and this is amplifying that fated and karmic events of eclipse season. That's what's happening. So just pay attention to the synchronicities that's happening around this time. The conjunction occurs the same day that Mercury enters into Sagittarius, which is on the 24th. Okay, so it's around the 23rd, 24th, and it's going to be shifting our perspectives and our communication styles. Now, we see things from a higher ground, and we are willing to take adventure through our consciousness to expand the views, from this space or from this altitude even more so. So kind of keep that in mind, that Sagittarius season is really full of optimism as it supports us in releasing what no longer serves our highest good. And that we get that understanding from this eclipse season that just happened the previous week in week 3, right? Okay, so from that, on the 24th, we have Mercury, which is leaving Scorpio, secretive and profound sign of Scorpio. And within the first 48 hours of this transit, Mercury is going to conjunct the South Node right after the sun conjuncts the South Node. So now we get the influence of like the insight, we get the synchronicities and all that, right? So this influence is activating the insight and the synchronicities. So that way it's helping us to recognize our fated path that lies ahead. After all, we are in eclipse season. So all of these things should be considered. Since we are intentionally being guided towards our destiny, things are changing around us as we shift on the inside. So, next week, The sun is going to, the sun and Mercury both are going to come into a conjunction, creating a Mercury cazimi. And this is going to provide clarity to those synchronicities and those things that we are really getting insight on. And this is also providing more clarity towards where we are venturing into our destined path. More things are going to be coming up at this time. Allow the bright-eyed Sagittarius season to really present us with a glimpse of what's lying ahead in 2022. So keep that in mind as well. And also it's giving us an insight of what needs to be let go of in order to have a peaceful and easier transition into 2022. Because, Jupiter moves into Pisces in December, shortly after Christmas. So all those wonderful things. All right, now that is all that I have for our 2-week forecast. I hope y'all have a wonderful holiday. If that is what you celebrate, I wish you all well. And you can just keep watch for anything else that I might upload over the week or so. I might put out a few more things since this is a 2-week forecast and whatnot, just to kind of keep you updated. If you need more hands-on and more connection with me, go ahead and hit that description box and get into the Celestial City membership. And let's connect that way. All right, now for next week, we will discuss all of those transits that I was speaking about that happens with the sun and Mercury. We'll talk about all those, Mercury cazimi that happens on the 28th and all that wonderful stuff. And it's the last week of November, then we move into December. So I look forward to connecting with everyone. I hope that this has been beneficial and helpful for you. Go ahead and meet me in the chat down below and let's talk and all that good stuff. So have a wonderful 2 weeks. See you soon. Bye.